Hey, welcome to Your Best, a podcast where we are going to be diving in to discovering all the ways that you can have your best and all the ways you can get into action with me and my fabulous guests. Now, who am I even? Who am I, right? Well, let me tell you, I'm Teemaree, your best life coach, and I help my clients have breakthroughs in their health, their life, their business, and their spirituality. Woohoo! Yes. And my fabulous guest is Pam Schmidt. So Pam Schmidt, she believes, you're going to love this, she believes that God gave each of us a healthy body and that if we detox our home and we detox our food and we detox our body, that we can each have a happy, healthy life. Now, get this. She helps people limit their toxic exposures, which we all know is just coming at us from every angle, because she is the chemical minimalist. I am so excited to have her here with us today. Pam, please share your website so we can just kick it off with all the info right off the top.
Great. Glad to be here. My website is chemicalminimalist.com. It's a lot of letters for what it stands for.
You know, I go through the same thing. I suffer from let's just throw it all in there syndrome. But it's the best because that's how it's clear. So awesome. I'm so happy to have you here with us today. We're going to talk specifically. Okay. So the title of this episode, and I'm just going to share it off the top with you. And I got this because, as you know, I sought you out. I found you. I loved what you're doing. And I was like, I can't wait to speak with her. And so what I love is that you are helping people unlock their health without a doctor, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We are unlocking health without a doctor. We're going to talk about parasites and the importance of detoxing and, what it does and all this good stuff. But first, we're going to get into a silly game. Because games are fun and we just want to break the ice and just have a good time, right? So this game is called, Could It Be a Parasite? This game is, could it be a parasite? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tell you random things. And off the top of your head, you're going to say, it could or it could not be a parasite. Could it be? We don't know, right? What are parasites even? This may or may not be educational at all, but it's going to be fun. Okay. All right. So Pam, the monster on the movie series Aliens, could it or could it not be a parasite?
It could, with imagination.
Okay, here's the next one. Wanting to eat ice cream every night. Could it or could it not be a parasite?
Oh, it could. Oh, yes. Definitely.
Oh, I feel attacked.
Hard to tell you.
Okay, I don't want to cry now. No, I'm kidding. Okay, next one. A desire to shop on Amazon 24/7. Could it or could it not be a parasite?
It could be with explanation. If you're not sleeping, it could be parasites.
Oh my gosh. This is educational. Okay. And one more. The little barnacle animated man on SpongeBob SquarePants. Could he or could he not be a parasite?
I'll say not. He could not be. I felt obligated to get a no in there.
Oh, this is so good. All right. So listen, parasites are creepy and they're scary. And I specifically wanted to have you on because I personally, I have a little bit of history with this personally. And it's what kind of led me into helping clients, not in the way you do. What you do is very specific. It is very wonderful and important. What I do when I do help my clients through the health and wellness perspective is I help them not only with their mindset around their changes and how that's important, but I help them to discover paths like introducing you, how to discover various paths that are available to us that we just don't know about, and how those paths help us to be healthier. And they seem random and strange because they're just not massively marketed to us, but that they do help. So, for me, I had a lot of things going on. I would go to the doctor. One of the biggest things that I could not ignore was I had gotten rosacea. And I had gotten rosacea. You did too? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're here. I'd gotten it. I went to the doctor. They said, as soon as he saw it, he knew what it was. And he prescribed me a cream, but said, we don't know why. It may or may not go away. And that led me down a path to discover what you specialize in. And I went to a specialist that's like you, and that helped me. But it was very, very wonderful it was scary at first, to have this diagnosis that it's like, well, you may or may not have this now for the rest of your life. And here's this cream that, by the way, has side effects, and it may or may not take it away. And that sucked. And so I have a personal experience with parasites and all kinds of things. So I'm so happy that you're here to educate us further and to give us some information. Now, I know you also have a personal reason why you began this journey, and it has to do with your husband. So please tell us, share your story with us.
Thanks so much. And yeah, I love the connection I'm already feeling with you. So thank you. Over 30 years ago, I was a teacher. My husband was a cop. We had a 3-year-old son, a 6-month-old daughter. We were living our just happy, normal life. And my husband started getting these rashes. He started getting fevers, night sweats, and back pain. So he was going to various specialists over the months, and they were just giving him antibiotics and pain relievers and all this stuff, but it wasn't getting better. And finally, after about 6 months of doing this, he was falling on the floor at moments, crying and still night sweating and all of this stuff. And he went to a back specialist who said, bend over, and checked him. And he said, you've got a problem with your prostate, sent him to your urologist. And then he went into the county hospital, and he was there for 2.5 weeks. They did prostate surgery. It was a ruptured prostate, but we didn't know a diagnosis. And he kept getting worse. He was dying. He was straight out dying. And after 2.5 weeks, his urologist said, nothing's happening here, and took him to a teaching hospital. And there they diagnosed within hours that he had a very resistant, deadly strain of tuberculosis. But for him, it was throughout the body.
Oh, man.
And so, he went through chemo strength treatment, and after 5 total weeks of hospitalization, he came home. And we were grateful. And the first day I head to work, and I come home and I said, you didn't eat the lunch that I put in the fridge? And he goes, I couldn't get up. He was so weak. So the medications that saved him also impaired him. And it's left him with chemically induced lupus. He had to retire from his police work. And, our life changed. And all of a sudden we realized all those dreams of hiking and all those things that we want to do with our kids, we probably couldn't do that now. So I went through a couple of years of deep grieving over life changes. And as much as I trust God, I was kind of mad at this point. It's like,
Sure.
What the heck are we doing? We were contributing, people, helping in the church and everything else. And all of a sudden I felt like we were just slapped. So along the way, to support my family, I started trying different ways of just cleaning the home. Vinegar on the floor, the typical thing like that. And then, with time, I kept getting inspired with other things to get rid of. I noticed that I got a simple green cleaner and was using that. Well, I was coughing a lot, and my husband was coughing a lot. And so, it pushed me further and further to start learning things that could replace those chemicals. And, 30 years ago, there was no internet. So it was a real slow process. I went from, the home cleaning routines and detoxing that to looking at the foods and the ingredients that we really need to avoid. And then it's expanded with my eye issues that had rosacea as the source. I came to working on body care products and what I put on my hair and my skin so I wouldn't irritate my rosacea. And then a few years ago, I saw the headline, so and so much percentage of Americans have parasites. And I went, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
No, not me. And finally, in these last few years, it's really struck me. Yes, I've been struggling with parasites. My numbers that I come up with in researching are 70 to 90% of Americans have them. And we're not acknowledging it in our medical system. Mm-hmm. And yes, rosacea can be sourced in parasites. Skin issues can be sourced in parasites. So, it's just grown, and parasites has become my main focus, but we have got to detox those other areas so that we're not supporting the parasites.
Yes. And you're so right. And so you're absolutely right. That was my same experience with what happened for me, where I did not want to accept. Here's the thing. I'm very much into taking action to help ourselves. When it comes to our medical industry in the United States, and how quick it goes to prescription drugs, which always have a side effect. And it seems like as we fast forward in our timeline, it seems as though the turnaround times for passing prescriptions is shorter because the side effects lists are longer. And so to be told, take this, it may or may not even help you, and their side effects really bothers me. And that's what kicked me in to discover further and look the holistic path, which is why I feel so strongly with coaching my clients in taking that route. I was going to ask you, and you said 70 to 90% of people in the United States have parasites. And I know when I found out that I had parasites, I was horrified, because you're just like, oh my, this is disgusting. And then to discover it is so common in our country, and it can happen in so many ways. So I'm going to ask you these series of questions because, of course, you can share your experience, and I'll share a little bit of mine. But in your case, do you feel folks need to be tested? Because that is a route on the internet that you'll find you should be tested for parasites. Do you find that people need to be tested before they take action?
My personal choice is that people don't bother with it. I mean, you can, but it's expense, it's insurance, it's inconvenience, because the testing involves either a blood test or you're taking a stool sample into the lab. First of all, just collecting it is kind of disgusting, but those tests can be infallible. They're not infallible. They can show that you're clear and you still have parasites, So I say, just go with the 70 to 90%. You don't need prescriptions to treat this. Just jump in and do it preventatively, just like you would, go to the dentist when you don't have a cavity. You take care of that annually, quarterly, whatever you do.
Yes. Now, on a scale, and I think I know what you're going to say, but let's get educated here, okay? Because we've seen now so many things, right? We've seen in the name of detoxing, right? We've seen, throw these powders in your drinks. We've seen, have this cayenne cleanse, blabbity, blabbity, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? And we will get into the different kind of detoxing that you're talking about, because I do not think you're talking about a cayenne cleanse. But how important on a scale of 1 to 10 do you believe it is for people to detox just in general as a way of life?
10 out of 10, just to get on with the happy, healthy life. And my feeling is, I don't want people to live in fear and look at everything and go, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. Oh, do I have this? No, just take care of it and get on with life. There's so much joy we need to experience.
Yes. So can you then, share a little bit about, and what is detoxing for you? Let's say someone's like at level 0, and this is kind of new to them. So what is a good opening detox plan or step to take?
If we're talking about, are you talking about the home or are you talking about body?
Let's go with body first and then home second.
Okay. A simple thing that somebody can do from ground zero is add diatomaceous earth, food grade diatomaceous earth to their daily routines, because that's going to affect the parasites, get them out. And it's good for, bone strength and skin and all of those things, but it's food grade diatomaceous earth. So I just take a teaspoon, tablespoon, and put it in a few ounces of water, stir it up, drink it. It's a little gritty, no flavor, but then you'll wash your mouth out with water just to get rid of that little bit of grit, because it's silica in diatomaceous earth.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And can you share a little bit, as you've done that, what were some things that you started to experience that let you know you were moving in the right direction?
Bowel movements got better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, I saw things in the bowel movements.
Really?
little eggs, little pieces of parasites. But you got to look. And some people say, I don't want to do that. Well, why? So I started seeing that. As I moved into more parasite detox methods, I did feel that my gut health improved. I think definitely my hay fever allergies improved, because I used to be on 7 rounds of antibiotics a year as a school teacher for sinus infection and bronchitis. And so then I started taking a load of supplements that managed it, and Zyrtec. Once I did this parasite protocol, and I did a 5-month one for my first one, really deep dive. Now I've gotten rid of all the supplements that I needed to support my health. I still take a Zyrtec, but my allergy symptoms have really gotten a lot less. I feel like my skin health has been a lot better. We talked about rosacea, and, there's foods and things that you do that flare it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like my flares are much less, and it's not noticeable anymore to others.
Wow, that is fantastic. I can share as well that in my case, when I had the rosacea and I took the opposite path, I decided to, I found a they weren't technically a nutritionist. Their degree is actually as a chiropractic that went into holistic medicine. And it really spoke to me. And he helped me discover and gave me a series of botanicals that I used. And the rosacea went away and never came back. Now, I will say this. I am currently experiencing something that I believe is parasite related. So I will need to do something, because I am finding that, and I don't know if this is TMI, but hey girl, we're all about living our best, and we got to be honest about it, right? Because that's the way we make a change. So for me, absolutely, I'm experiencing a lot of sinus pressure. And my right eye, it feels almost like, so it's not only pressure, it feels like stuffed, but it's not stuffed. It's like in my head, like a sinusy, like a pressure, like what you would feel with allergy. And I'm like, what is this? I've never had this before. And it's just kind of here. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? Right. And so I've been looking up, and like sinus things, they do say is a good indicator of that. And I will say this though, the rosacea that I had that Western doctors told me would probably never go away, the cream would manage it, maybe, was gone and has never resurfaced. So I know these treatments work and can truly eliminate and reverse things. But I also think, like you shared with us, if 70 to 90% of us have parasites and we live here, our habits are going to probably bring those parasites in again. Would you agree?
Absolutely. That's something, like I said, going to the dentist, even though you don't have a cavity, we need to just have our regular times of treating for parasites, because we keep getting re-exposed. If we're walking barefoot on the grass, and an animal had pooped or pooped there a couple of weeks ago, and it was cleared away. We're walking there. Hookworm can easily enter our feet, and they go up and around the whole body. And there's lots of exposures. We've seen produce and salads and fish and all those things on social media where all of a sudden there's this worm coming out. We're getting exposed so frequently, but I don't want us to live in terror.
Sure.
We know that, okay, well, when I next treat, I'll be taking care of that. It's part of life. As a kindergarten teacher, I got pinworms. And that's very common among children because they have stuff under their fingernails, and then, people easily catch it. So, it is part of life, regardless of what it is, because there's a list of exposures that, bring it into our world all the time.
I'm so glad that you say this way. It's just so wonderful, warm, and welcoming to just enter into this consciousness of this is just a thing. It's like brushing our teeth and showering. It's just a thing that we do to be healthy. And so where in the day, week, or calendar year should people detox? What do you recommend?
I would say really the first time you treat for it, you need to go for at least 6 weeks of a protocol because you need to catch all the stages of the life cycle of the parasite. Just like bugs and frogs, there's life cycle stages. If you just treat one time or 1 week, you're going to probably, get a few of them, but their cycle keeps going. So I would say that first time you need 6 weeks, 8 weeks of treatment. And then after that, for me, when the full moon comes around, I do 1 week of treatment because full moon time is their party time. The parasites all gather and they're extra fertile and they mate more than ever, lay more eggs than ever. So take advantage of it. And for me, I use...
What? Is this real?
You know how you can't sleep when it's a full moon?
Yeah.
That's the parasites. And it's also your serotonin and melatonin hormones change with the full moon. And it's all to the advantage of the parasites. So they're having a party. So, and I treat myself, and I did it this last week for the full moon, but I did have a wakeful night, that full moon night. And it wasn't like I went to bed and said, oh, this is going to be a bad night. I was ready to sleep.
So, okay, this is fascinating. But I really want people to get, we played around about symptoms. What pesky symptoms, and I know you have a wide breadth of ways that you help people and help them to find, which you probably wouldn't be able to cover completely, but what pesky symptoms can people get rid of when, when they detox and when they take care of this?
Allergy symptoms, sensitive skin, gut disruptions, constipation or diarrhea, mood issues, sleep issues, teeth grinding, bedwetting, sore muscles and joints. There are specialists that I follow that even say multiple sclerosis, the big C word. I won't say it here, but the big C word. And those brain cysts can all be part of a parasite indication. So, when they remove something like a brain cyst, they don't dissect it. They don't look at what it is. It's an encrusted parasite most of the time. Wow. So there's a lot of things that we can take care of just by dealing with the parasites. And all of a sudden you go, I think I had 7 symptoms on my long list of symptoms, in my ebook. And I didn't know they were related. And they've all kind of dissipated or gone away with treating for parasites.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing this. I love hearing this so much. It's so powerful because I have, both of my grandparents have passed, and watching both of them leave this earth, it was an extended situation. They both got ill, and it was terrible. And a lot of people, it seems now, whether we're looking at, celebrity gossip, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me reading that stuff, but we're just seeing a lot of these stories, the C word, and a lot of these ailments that are scary. They are long standing in their nature, and they really tear people down. And so, knowing, and even, hey, let's be honest, even if we have bloating, even if we have these things that we end up saying, oh, that's just aging. It's like, no, it is not just aging. We can take care of this. This means so much to me because I personally do feel a connection with us breaking those new beliefs we've taken on of like, this is just something that happens. So thank you for telling us this because this is powerful. I think you've already answered why people should get help with this. I mean, obviously, look, if we can take care of all these things, let's do it. But how do you help people as the chemical minimalist, as someone who have spent decades, you've personally done this work? How do you help people make these changes?
I will, meet them where they are. If they want to work exclusively on home routines, we can do that. In general, people are coming right now for parasite help. So, I'm going to be diving in with people on that, working on a protocol. So, and that means a treatment plan. And, so it's most effective for them. Then behind the scenes, we can work on, the body care, what you're slathering on your body that goes through that organ and into your system, and work on food choices and then also on home cleaning routines because those toxins will provide the support the parasites need if you don't take care of it. It enables them to build this little armor around themselves called biofilm. And so, the toxins are in the biofilm. When we're treating for parasites, we're breaking down both the biofilm and getting those parasites paralyzed and out.
Wow. I had no idea about this biofilm thing and how the environmental toxins are essentially strengthening them. That's huge. That's huge.
Well, and I'll add, when you go to the dentist, if they're, if the hygienist is talking to you, they're talking about biofilm in the mouth.
Sure.
And so, yes, we have biofilm there. Yes, we can have parasites there. And I talk about biofilm as what's on my dog dish when I'm cleaning it and it won't come off after 3 applications of soap. That's their saliva, their biofilm. So it's a good example to us of how sturdy the biofilm really is, and we need to deal with that.
Oh my gosh, this has been fantastic. So, wow. I'm pretty blown away. I'm pretty blown away by a number of things that you have shared with us today. I'm blown away at how the two things are married, our environmental and our, just digestive and what we're eating. I love that you walk people through the process, where they're at. So, whether it's protocol and a little bit, let's just break this down. We have a couple more questions for you. Protocol, maybe someone doesn't know what that means. What do some of those things look like? Are they medicines? Is it, what should they be prepared for? What does that mean to you? How do you share?
There are ways to treat this just with herbs and herbal combinations such as wormwood, clove, and black walnut. That's a good combination of herbs that help treat for parasites. I also love to use non-prescription pharmaceutical dewormers like fenbendazole and ivermectin. And so what's important is rotating, cycling through them. So you have the odd number weeks and the even number weeks. And so you go, you have a treatment on the odd number weeks that's different than the even number because you don't want those parasites to build up resistance. So that's what I'm going to take them through. We basically it's a dewormer and a binder that helps get those toxins and pull them out of the body so they don't keep recycling. So it is, a little bit on your shelf that you will be using, but they're very, very reasonable. They're easy on your body. There are some treatments that I've done that are more harsh on the body. I don't want to do that with anybody. You know, that was my choice. I don't want to do that.
I hear you. I hear you. I go through the same with my coaching.
Right. Well, and I'll bring up one other thing. It can be treated as a foot bath. It doesn't all have to be oral treatment. I've had some people I've worked with that could not, you know, their stomach was tender. They couldn't deal with it. So we just did foot baths, nightly foot baths, and cycled through the treatments that they used. And they did get results. In fact, one lady, it was the end of her 6 weeks, and she's in the shower, and all of a sudden something plopped on the floor. And for a split second before it washed down the drain, she saw it, and they were worms, just not the toilet, in the shower. So it does work, and the feet are very, very capable of absorbing the treatments for deworming.
Oh my gosh. I am so happy that you have been here with us today, Pam. You have no idea. It means a lot to me that people find paths to have a beautiful, happy, vibrant, energetic life, and that we don't have to be chained by things that come upon us, that we can do things about it. It makes me so happy that you came here today with us. Now, clearly you've already shared, but like for someone who may just in general, maybe it's hard for them to wrap their heads around getting coaching, getting help, because I'm sure your services, well, maybe I'm wrong, but usually in my case, when you're trying to help yourself without pharmaceuticals and Western doctors, insurance isn't covering that. We're coming out of pocket for these things. So to the person who's thinking, I don't know, what is coaching? What is getting this help? You know, is she a doctor? What's happening? What would you say is the value? What would you say to that person?
You know, I went through this pretty much by myself, and I'm a researcher and I'm a questioner, and it became overwhelming. It took me a long time to sort out what I found, and I really feel like people don't have to spend time doing that. I want to be at your side. I want to hold your hand and take you through this. It does not have to be hard. But that's why you need a coach. You need someone who's been there before you, because you don't want to geek out on researching all this parasite stuff. You have other things to do. But that's my mission. I really feel like God gave me this mission. And whenever I ask a question, he answers, but he answers and gives me the next question. That's the blessing. Like, oh boy, here we go, more research. But I truly feel everywhere I've been in life, God has gone before me. He has set this path for me. So I want to offer, if I can, I hope you don't mind, I want to offer that anyone who watches this podcast, I do give mini coaching sessions. They're usually 20 minutes, but if you bring up that you saw me on our podcast today, we'll go for 40 minutes, no cost, and we'll get you some action steps to help you get on with life. Then if you want to work with me, you can, but this one's a free one.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. It's great because we were going to end with that. Listen, friends, I can tell you this right now. I sought Pam out. I sought her out because I saw the value of what she was doing, because I have personally lived the value of getting holistic help, coaching, the protocol, and being able to eliminate and reverse things that were happening, and they were gone. And there were no side effects from what I was doing. So I knew that Pam was going to be excellent. I saw what she's doing. I saw her passion. And I also saw that she does have this phenomenal way. You can just go to her website and you can get that initial coaching with her. So the fact that she is doubling that up for your best podcast listeners, hold on. Woohoo! Okay. Hello. So listen, Pam, tell us right before we finish, we're going to let people know all the ways they can contact you. So you mentioned an ebook. Tell us about that, and tell us about your website again.
Okay. I have a free ebook called Cleanse Parasite Basics. It It's about 20 pages. It answers all those questions that I came up with and the answers that I found. It will give you a wonderful foundation for understanding exposures, symptoms, and some of the basic treatments. There is not a protocol in there in general, but it gives you all that understanding. And again, my website is chemicalminimalist.com.
Yay, 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 yay. I'm so happy you've been here with us. My name is Teemaree. This is Your Best Podcast. In our show notes, you are going to have the links to connect with us, our show, to subscribe, to find Pam easily and access her phenomenal. Hello, she is doubling this coaching session. Hello. Woohoo! People. You better get on this. Okay, so definitely connect with us. Definitely subscribe, Pam. I'm so happy that you have been here today. And I will probably ask you to come back because there's just so much we can cover. But thank you so much for today.
Thank you, Teemaree. It was such a joy. And your little sound effect, that's exactly me. Mine was woohoo. So, I mean, it's the same thing. So
this means so much. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe and visit teemaree.com/free for more goodness. Woohoo!